Hey, how's it going? You already know who it is. It's Key. I'm back for another live stream session, and this is OpenPair. We're working with .NET and C Sharp, and I'm just going to go ahead and jump into making an actual application. Now, I still have so much to learn about C Sharp, but I know that I will learn much faster, much more quickly if I just suck it up and just dive into it. So what had happened was I came up with an idea for an app that I've wanted to make for a long time. And I decided that this would be a perfect opportunity to give myself a little bit of a coding challenge in order to improve my ability. At the school that I work at, this is something we do with students a lot is we'll give them an idea or we'll give them an outline for an app with a set of features. And then, once they've been exposed to the basic skills and the basic tools that they need to accomplish it, we'll just say, okay, now make a thing. And in that process, the struggle zone that comes with that process, so much is learned and gained. And so I'm going to follow the advice and the structure that I give my own students, and I'm going to work this out myself with this idea. So let's go ahead and jump into this and get started. Okay, so I have made a repository for this project, which I will go ahead and link into the description below. So if you go check, as usual, I have a link to this repo down below. And this is going to be a dice divination app made with .NET, C Sharp, and the web framework called ASP.NET Core. So the basic idea of this application is that a user or a client at least will be able to submit a post request to the server, and then the server will use OpenAI's ChatGPT to come up with a prompt and create a reading for the dice that are thrown, and then be able to provide that reading as feedback for the user. So that's the basic premise. What I had in mind was that sometimes I like to throw my own dice when I play different board games and stuff. And I was thinking, okay, what if there was a way that I could make a tarot type of thing, but use dice instead of cards? So that sounds like a lot of fun. I know in D&D there is I think it's a cleric spell called divination, where you actually roll a dice. I think it's a D20 dice, and based on the dice roll, it can be used for different role-playing elements. So that was kind of my underlying inspiration for making this server. And making a random dice roll server is kind of like my version of a hello world for making servers. I've done this in Golang. I've done this in Node. It's kind of just my go-to idea whenever I'm trying to learn a new server. It's a pretty fairly simple pattern. It will expose you to all the basics, setting up the server, getting the server running, using Postman, setting up some routes, and setting up handler functions for those routes. Those are all the basic things. And then once you can do that, and also set up the server structure, you can really take it from there and make that server do whatever you want it to do. So the prerequisites, if you want to run this application or even follow along, which I don't recommend, this is not a tutorial, but you will need to have .NET. I think it's okay to use 5.0, but I'm actually going to be using 8.0 because that is the most current version. You will need to have an OpenAPI key. That is something where I'll probably set up an environment variable so that I can have that privately on my computer and not expose that to the whole World Wide Web. But you'll need to have your own API key. And then you'll need to have the ASP.NET Core runtime, and then some type of tool for testing out these requests, because I'm not going to do the UI part of this today. That will come later down the line if I get to it. But I'm just really focused on the server side stuff right now. So I have all these instructions basically in the README. So if you are interested in this in hindsight, please just check out the link in the description and follow these steps here to get this project up and running on your computer. And then maybe you can use this as just something to play around with. And please mind the license that is included in this. And yeah, so that's my little setup. Okay, so If you're new to my stream, this OpenPair thing, as I already said before in many of these streams before, this is not a tutorial. This is not, a learning thing. This is literally me just like going on my own learning journey and then just sharing this process, being vulnerable, being open, and kind of like we're like pair programming partners, except you're not really helping me, I suppose. Your energy, your presence, that's helping me, okay? So you are contributing. Snaps for you, okay? So just follow along if you're interested in this kind of thing. I would recommend working on your own thing, and maybe this is just like background noise, you know what I'm saying? Let's just be friends and work together. Let's co-work. That's what we're doing. Okay, so I have basically, let me show you what I have just for the sake of transparency. I use ChatGPT. I didn't use it to come up with any code for me. I want to avoid that, as I've mentioned in previous streams. I want to avoid having it do the hard work of like coding for me. But what I am using it for is to help me understand the step-by-step process. So for me, this is very similar to finding like a tutorial. Find like if you ever go to like tutorial websites like was it the How To Wiki, something like that. If you find a blog post on Dev2, this to me is an equivalent process. So general, big picture things, and then it's up to me to kind of dive in and figure out how to make meaningful steps forward with this broad overview. Think about this as like a scope document of sorts, or a set of tasks rather. So I'm using this. I'm going to have this off screen. This may be a set of assumptions that might not necessarily align with reality. I don't know. I won't know until I get into it. The main thing is that if you use ChatGPT or AI or even the tutorial, just know that it doesn't always work out exactly as written. And the way that it's written may not always necessarily be the best. So it's up to you to do the hard work, to do the thinking, and to make the best decisions for your idea. And this is only meant to help, and it doesn't always help, okay? So that's my underlying philosophy. That's what I'm going to do over here. I don't know how they do it where you're from, but that's how we do it over here, okay? So that being said, I think I have everything set up on my computer. I have the SDK. I got VS Code. I got the C# extensions. Let's go ahead and start the first part. So normally what you would want to do is make a application from scratch on your computer and then maybe put that on GitHub. I am starting out with my repo already pre-made. So since my repo is already pre-made, then I have really two options to go ahead and get started. Now, I think that this repo may eventually serve as a mono repo for a much larger app, or at least, at least I want to plan it that way just in case. So I'm actually going to create a subfolder within this and just treat this as a mono repo for the time being. And that will allow me just to go through the basic manual steps of making a new app. By the way, if you go to the .NET Learning Center, they have these little tutorials here that you could use to make your own applications. They got C#, web, all this kind of stuff. You could just do any of these to get started. I'm going to use my guide. So what my guide says here is I can make a new project by using the command .NET new web API, and it'll basically create all of the folder structure and the basic web API project. So let's try that. I'm going to do that from within this root directory and make a subdirectory that is specific for the web app, and then eventually I'll have another subdirectory that is specific for the actual part of this app that's like the UI stuff. So that's my goal. Sorry, I got a message on my phone. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. That command is, let's just clear this. That command is .NET new web API -n. I don't know what the -n stands for. And and then let's call this app underscore server. Let's call this DDA server. Yeah, let's call this DDA server. Okay, so that should make a new directory. There we go, right here. And let's, I think we can go ahead and CD into that folder now. Well, let's do a commit. Initialize DDA server. DDA stands for Dice Divination app. Okay, so let's CD into that folder. And the next step I have here is that I think I can actually run this. So I think it's .NET watch. Do your thing, yeah. Okay, cool. So it's got like a little, this is actually, is interesting. So the server that it made for me generated some documentation, and this weather forecast, this is actually the server that you would make if you follow the tutorial that they have for making an ASP.NET server on the website. But anyways, we can go ahead and open up our HTTP client. Do I use Postman on this computer? I forget. I think I do. I also use Insomnia, but I think I like Postman better. I find that Postman is a little bit more friendly. So we're going to use Postman. Give me just 1 second. I got to sign into my account that I don't have. Do I even have an account? They changed it recently where you need to have an account. But I ain't buying nothing. I ain't doing that. So, yeah, give me 1 second here. Trying to get me to buy something. Nope, no thank you. Yeah, what it says here is they're deprecating the ability to use the Scratchpad version of the app. I don't like that for us, but I understand why they would do it. I just don't like that for us. You know what I'm saying? It's not really a vibe. It's kind of sus. It's not lit. So forth and so on. Okay, and it also just erased all of my previous stuff that I had in here, which is fine. I only had 2 things. Okay, so this is my new thing here. I'm going to make a new collection, and I'm going to call this collection, let's see, rename DDA server. And this documentation that was generated when I ran my .NET ASP.NET server, it's basically telling me that there's a get endpoint that it's already built in here, and this get endpoint has a path here of weather forecast. So I should be able to just use that here. Okay, if I just send that, I should get a response. Nope. Oh, I gotta actually use this URL here. So it's going to be on localhost 5036 / weather forecast. Cool. So I can see here that's giving me some data here. It's in this format here, the schema. Okay, cool. Looks like there's multiple schemas. Oh, I see what's going on here. There's a day of the week here, which is an array. And then Oh, there's multiple. Okay, let's kind of start off by just exploring how this works because we're going to want to know how this works in order to understand how to leverage this for our intents and purposes. So the main file of the app is this program.cs right here. And this program.cs, eventually we're going to have to abstract this code out so that I can have other code, like other, I guess they're called packages. I don't know if they're called packages or modules, but basically other packages that kind of feed into this. The program.cs is the main code that gets ran whenever the project is activated. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just write some comments in here and break this down so that I can begin to abstract this. Also, let's see, is it possible to refactor this and okay, so we can modify the app by adding so this is kind of like similar to Express here. So this is define a route to define a get route to return weather. And this will just return something static for right now. I think this is to run the server. And I'm not sure what a record is. Yeah, I'm not sure what a record is. Let's look at our handy dandy yellow book, C# yellow book. I remember we looked at this book last time, and this was pretty helpful for giving us basic definitions. So let's just see if that's in here. I go down to the bottom. I think that's where like the little glossary something or rather is. So in this section here, where the R's, a record, there's no record in here. Okay. Let's see, record, keyword, C#. You use the record modifier to define a reference type that provides built-in functionality for encapsulating data. So record is referencing, okay, weather forecast, date only, what's the date, temperature, and then summary. And then we're saying for this record, we're going to create a new summaries. Okay, so let's go back and refresh this really quick. I think that it will also help if I can kind of observe, because this is generating random weather also. So it's treating this summaries as a, okay. Oh, I see what's happening here. Okay. Okay, so this part above this line, these are basic configurations. So basic configurations are this first section here. Let's make a comment here. I'm gonna put a little emoji. Let's just say basic configurations for app and Swagger. By the way, Swagger is just a tool for documenting APIs. So this little web page here, this is being generated based on the code here, so that you could give this web page link potentially to someone who wanted to use your server, and they would know how to like use the different endpoints, what to give and what to expect, basically, in using them. So this is automatically generated for that purpose. A lot of times if you go to websites and you're looking at a third-party API, a lot of the efficient organizations will at least have the API documentation auto-generated to some degree. Okay, let's make this red. So this is the basic configuration for the app and Swagger build. And then the stuff down here is the routes. Okay. And then this app.run, let me move this to the bottom. And I'm going to change this to say run. We don't want to ruin it. We got to run it. So run the server. Okay, it's complaining now. Let's see what it's complaining about. Line 53. Does it not like that I have the... Oh, I don't think it likes that I have the record beneath like that. Okay. We might actually end up... let's restart. We might actually end up abstracting this weather forecast endpoint, like basically this part right here, into its own model. I think that might end up being what we do. So let me just try this one more time, make sure I didn't break anything. Okay. So what this record for weather forecast is going to do, I think, is it's going to take in the, it's going to look at the temperature, and it's going to convert it from Celsius into Fahrenheit, or from Fahrenheit into Celsius, or yeah, from Celsius into Fahrenheit, and provide a new property here. Okay, so when a person hits this endpoint, there is an arrow function that is called, I'm not getting any app documentation here, code documentation. And then this arrow function is going to create a variable that stores the forecast, and I'm not sure what enumerable dot range. So this is probably creating a, let's look it up actually. Enumerable dot range. C#. Oh, this is one of those link things. Okay, so it just generates a sequence of numbers basically. And then we're going to select, so we're going to say, this is basically saying we're going to have 5 forecasts. I think that's what that's saying. And then for each of those 5 forecasts, we're going to do something. Oh, I see. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me just write a comment here. Create 5 forecasts, and for each of them, create a new weather forecast. Okay. Okay, so each weather forecast is going to be, it's going to have date only. What is date only? Where is that coming from? Um, date only. Okay, so this weather forecast down here, this seems to be like the type. Not the type, but I guess I don't know what the difference is between a record and a class. It seems like a record is like a class, but it only stores properties. Um, record versus class versus struct in C sharp. Can your data use a record to store your, I don't know what a DTO is. Structs are value types, classes are reference types, records are default immutable reference types. Okay. Random. Uh, yeah, so I guess there's no reason why I would need to necessarily use this approach. I don't know that this is how I would approach this. Okay, so I think what this is saying here is that this new weather class that is being created is going to provide these three things as the arguments for um, these different properties here. I don't know where date only comes from. I'm assuming that it's built into C sharp, so let's look that up. Okay, yes, they're built in. Okay. And I guess date only just creates a new date. So that's pretty simple. Date time is now. And we're basically using this to a add days. So this will artificially look like it's from the past. Um, yeah. So today's the 20th. So it's the same with every time this index changes, it'll add that index to the current date. So this will look like this is in the future rather. So 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Okay, that makes sense. This random.shared.next, this is choosing a value from -20 to 55. That will be the temperature in Celsius. Let me add some comments here. Will um, become the date, which is current day plus index. And this will choose a temp in Celsius from -20 to 55. And then this will random.shared.next summaries.link. So this will use the summaries. I think this is just considered an array. Oh, it's an array of strings. And it's just choosing one at random, I believe. Let's refresh this. Yeah, it's just choosing one at random. Random.shared.next. Let's see what one thing I do dislike, and I don't know if this is a configuration thing, is that I'm not getting on hover. Let me reload this here. I'm not getting on hover documentation or commentary on this code, which doesn't sit right with me because it is like I'm getting it for some things, but not for like built-in functions or methods. Okay, let's look up random.shared.next. Oh, that's not a website. See, sure. Okay. Random returns a non-negative random integer that is less than the specified maximum. Okay. Oh, so it's the same thing as this here. I guess because we're giving it one. Okay, I know what this is doing now. So this is choosing a random item from the array, accounting for the length of the array as the maximum index number to choose from. Okay, cool. So that makes sense. And then it is, so this stuff right here, or this weather forecast, this is going to be a record. And a record is just a collection of values, and it's going to cast them into an array. So casting a record into an array of values. I don't know what this would be if not. Um, I guess a record is just its own type. Yeah, I'm not sure like what this would be if not an array, but okay, that's interesting. And then we're going to return the forecast. And what is with name? So adds endpoint. Okay, so this is the name of the endpoint. This is probably a thing for Swagger here. Maybe. Oh, here. Nope, that's not it. I don't know what the name part is for here. With OpenAPI. Adds an OpenAPI annotation to endpoint.metadata associated with the current endpoint. Okay. So I think that these are just like some methods. I feel like this would work even without. Nope. Okay. Never mind. Oh, I need the semicolon. I think this would still work. Yeah. So these are probably useful for something, but it's not going to make or break my endpoint here. I'm not entirely sure. So with name, adds I endpoint name metadata to the metadata collection for all endpoints produced on the target I endpoint convention builder. Given the endpoint name is linked, used for link generation, and is treated as an operation ID. I'm not sure when this would be useful, so let's look that up too. I think this is an open API thing. Is this open API? Tell me. Route handler builder? Um, Here's the Swagger website. I don't know if this will tell me. Oh, it looks like we're almost ready for a break here. Um, Let me just cheat a little bit and use my chat GPT off screen here, and I'm gonna take a break. So give me 1 second. Doot 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 doot. So explain dot with name and dot with open API and C# server. Okay, I'm going to show you what it says here. It says in C#, the dot with name and dot with open API are methods commonly used for a context of configuring configuring middleware or services, especially when setting up web APIs. So dot with name, this method typically used in context of configuring routes. Okay. It assigns a name to the particular route, which can be useful for generating URLs in your application. So, okay, interesting. Named routes allow for the creation of URLs without having to hard code the paths. Oh, I see. So it would be an alternative maybe to this. Okay, that sounds like a rabbit hole, but it's good to know that this is not something I need to make use of now, but I could just add this for future use. Okay, and then this method with OpenAPI is also associated with configuring Swagger and OpenAPI, and it enables generation of OpenAPI documentation for your web API. OpenAPI, formerly known as Swagger, is okay. I know what that is. When you configure your API, it can generate interactive API documentation, which is what this is right here. Okay, I have the use Swagger thing here. Okay, use Swagger UI, Swagger endpoint. Okay. So if I got rid of this, would that mean that it doesn't show up in the documentation here? It still shows up. Yeah, it definitely shows up. Let me restart my app. Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem to affect anything. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to come back and revisit this particular thing, but it doesn't seem to have any negative consequences if I do forget it. But it is definitely something that would be worth learning in the future. So I think I have the basic understanding of what this is enough to start modifying it. Let me just add one more comment here. So this record, uh, it defines the value schema for a weather forecast. When a new forecast is created, the incoming parameters become the properties, and variables that are defined also become properties. Accessible. Now, one thing I'm going to just test before I go on my little break here is I want to see what happens whenever I make this temperature Fahrenheit into a private value here, and if that means it will not show up in my endpoint here when I run this request. I feel like that's what's going to happen, but let's just confirm that. Yes, okay. Fail to determine the HTTP. What? Um, Fail to determine the HTTP port for redirect. I don't know what that means. What's that funny business about? Let me retry this one more time. I don't think I changed anything that would cause this to be broken. Um, have I done anything different? Let's look at our diff here, I suppose. Yep, I just added some comments there. Maybe we debug this. Yeah, maybe we debug this. Let's just look that up. Let's see what this message means. Actually, you know what? I'm going to honor my break time because I don't need to finish all this today. So give me like 10-ish minutes, 10-ish, maybe 15. I gotta respond to a little thing here, and then we'll get started again. So I'm gonna go on break and stay with me. Stay in tune. Actually, take a break yourself as well. I know you deserve a little sneaky snack or something like that. So get a sneaky snack and then come on back. Hey, how's it going? We are back in action. Thank you for sticking with me. And we're going to go ahead and jump back into this. What we were doing before we left off for our break was we were looking at this generated web API and just going through and basically just adding some comments to what's going on here. And I saw that there was this little warning here. This is not anything broken, but I also don't like warnings because I feel like I just need to fix it. So we're going to Google this. Go to the google.com. I at least want to know what it means. It says ASP.NET Core HTTPS policy. I wonder if that's because I'm not doing HTTPS here. That would be what? Wait, does that not work? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that means, so let's check it out. Okay. Um, so this probably is in my launch settings. This is referencing something. There's some type of settings. Um, property. Oh, here it is. Okay. 5036. The port is 5036 for my application. And it's saying, okay. What are all these other things here? Oh, should I be going to what's 7223? Does that also work too? Oh, it doesn't. I wonder what. Okay, maybe there's like different commands or something to run the server. Because this here almost seems to be like the same as this up here. Oh, I see. So this is HTTPS. Um, oh, interesting. Okay. So, okay, so that is this. Wait, profiles. It seems that you might not specify the HTTPS port in your configuration, or if you have multiple. Check the properties that will run the application, development environment, and request zeros. Okay. So why can't I do HTTPS? Why does that not work? I wouldn't even think that that would not work. That's really um it's really interesting. Okay. For example, according to the tutorial, I created this sample on my site. Um, let's try to hit this get request in our browser as well. I'm just gonna check up here and let me restart the server as well. I wonder if I'll get that same message. I do, and will HTTPS :// that won't do anything. Okay. Are configured to bind to a random HTTP port between 5000 and 5330 and a random HTTPS port between 7000 and 3300. This default configuration specified in properties launch file and can be overridden if no ports are specified. Okay. So it's saying if this was not specified, it would actually just run on a random port. I don't believe you. Let me see. Let me see. Show me. Let's see. Okay. Oh wait. Did that not work? Okay, it's running on 5,000. 5,000. Interesting. Okay. So it's just using 5,000. Okay, so, but I do want to specify it. I think the explicitness makes sense. Okay. .NET tool install. Oh, I don't know what that is. Don't y'all be installing certificates for no reason, unless you know. Um, .NET HTTP REPL. What is that? Okay, lightweight cross-platform command line tool that supports. Okay. Um. Do, 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 do. Um. That sounds like it could be useful, but I don't think that solves what I'm seeing here as a warning. Let's just check Stack Overflow now. Okay, so I only have one profile. Oh, I have multiple profiles. So there's this HTTPS one. I don't want to get rid of something I might need, to be honest, but let me see if this does work. I'm going to just leave it, but it'll be interesting to note that that's something I need to check out later on to understand exactly how that other profile is being used. Because it doesn't seem like it's even working. Um, let's just send this. Oh, now that is not even working. Oh, it's 5036. Okay. Oh, nope. Still got that. Okay. Okay. Well, this is not breaking anything. Hate to just leave it. Mm, 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 mm. Hey, these lo-fi music things are bussing, banging, doing their thing. Okay, controller, um, default, my case comment, and program to avoid. Okay. So this is something I would have to just like figure out how to resolve with some configuration stuff, I guess. When you run the command line, the default only, so HTTP, not HTTP. That's correct. They launch with the HTTP launch profile, so the middleware runs it, prints the warning saying to make it clear that it couldn't perform its intended action, but it can't determine what the HTTPS port is to redirect to. There isn't one because the app is running HTTP only mode. That makes sense. Okay. It sounds like you need to adjust how you're setting up entity framework. Um, so, fail to determine is generally expected. Okay, so what's happening is it's running HTTP only. So if I do this other thing, .NET Watch, let's just paste this in here. And this should have the redirecting. Oh, so that work. Oh, that works. And then does that work now? Nope, it doesn't. Okay. Problems and problems. What happens if I just go here and do that? Okay, so that would work, but it's just not secure. So I think this has to do something with the certificate or something like that. Okay, so I know enough to know that this is not a problem right now, but that at the point where I might actually want to deploy this, this might be something that will come up again. Um, so, including operating system, exact error. I'm just going to look at one more. Make sure you have app.use HTTP redirection. Okay. So that may need to, oh, so I do have that HTTPS redirection. Okay, do I have a configure services anywhere? I don't. Um, whoops, wrong thing. I need to do, I don't think I have a configure services method. Okay, I don't know what that means. Um, ooh, Reddit always makes me a little nervous. You never know what you're going to get in this place. Okay. Microsoft dot ASP.NET failed to determine. Okay. So I need to make a new configure method, and okay, this just sounds like another step. I'm not sure when this is going to be something I need to do, but at least I know that there's some stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna ignore this for now and just move forward, just to keep us moving forward. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a commit here. Open up a new tab here. Initialize and add comments to basic server. Okay, so I think the next thing that I want to do is I need to make a model file. So, or I'm sorry, a model folder. And this folder will contain the models that have the properties for my dice rolls. Um, okay. Okay. So let's make a to-do file. Um, to-do.md. And define, we're going to do to-dos. And it's going to be define models. So one, we're going to have the dice model. And our dice model is going to have some properties. So each dice is going to have a number or type. And this will be, so we have the D4, we got the D6, D8, D12, D20, and we also have a D100 as well. 100. I'm going to put that here. The D100 is going to be, well, really it's going to give me numbers 0 through 99. But we're going to call it D100 because it is a D10, two D10s. One is 0 through. Let me check. I got some dice right here, actually. So the first D10 is going to be 0 through 9, and the second D10 is going to be 0 through 90, but it'll be in intervals of 10. So this will take me through 99. Let's just say D99. So the dice model will have a type of dice, and it'll have a result for the dice. This result will be a number. So the result will be a number based on the type. For D4, it'll be some range from 1 to, I don't know the exact code for this. I'm just gonna pseudocode this. D6, it's going to be a range from 1 to 6. D8, it's going to be range from 1 to 8. D12 or D99, it's going to be two ranges. The first one will be 0 to 9. And then the second will be range 0 to 90. And then the D12 is going to be range 1, range 1 to 12. And then lastly, the D20 range is going to be 1 to 20. Okay, so the result is going to have some type of condition. There should be a method. This probably needs to be a method that, yeah, this probably needs to be a class that has a method. So this is going to be a class. And there's going to need to be a type that is set when this class is created for any time a dice is rolled. And then the result method is going to look at the type, and then it's going to return, or it's going to set a result based on that type, probably using a lambda function. So I'll have two properties, type and result. And then I'll have a model for dice set, or let's just call this dice roll pre-post, or dice data. How about roll? Oh gosh, naming things is hard. What do you call like the collection of dice that has already been rolled, where you have all the values already set? Let's just call it a spread. That's what you would call it if you were laying out tarot cards. You call it a spread. So the spread will contain dice D1, which will be new dice, and then the number here. So D4, new dice D4, and it'll be like this, so forth and so on. Oops. Let's just copy this part. So let's do this the easy way. This will be 6, 8. And then 12, or D99. And then 12. Make sure I got everything here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you know what? I need to have a D2 that represents just a coin. I feel like that also counts here. So D2 is just a coin. So D2, this will just return true, false, which, or a 0 or 1. Range 0, 1. Let's just say random. This is just pseudocode, so don't take this too literally. We're just pseudo coding it up. So we want this dice class type to be based on an enum, and this enum needs to have these values here. We say dice type enum. I don't know how enum works with C#, so I guess we gotta look that up. Basically, what we want to do is say that it needs to be one of these things, just so that person can't enter in something random that doesn't work. Okay, so it's just this enum. Okay. Yeah. So these need to be strings. So yeah, so I can just make these into strings. Two. Actually, I won't manually do this. I'll just do the first one just for representative purposes, but I'm going to take this, put this here like that. And these need to be enums of strings. Okay. So I got the device or the dice class, which will have enum type, and then the results will be the result here will be a type. I need a type for results. Let's call this roll results. How about spread? Yeah. This needs to be some type of data structure, probably an array of values or something, maybe a map. Yeah, I would probably want to make it into a map. Um, Not quite sure yet. What else do I need on this dice roll? Yeah, I think this is all I need because for this dice, I will eventually have a a class for dealing with the post to yeah, I'll have a class that deals with the post that it sends to OpenAPI, and then I'll have a class that deals with whatever is received and packages it up in order to have a response for this GET request that I make. So let me just jot down some notes here. Um, how API will work. So step one is user will make a GET request to receive a reading. Server will generate a new dice spread for user. We'll generate a new dice spread for user. Dice spread will be sent to ChatGPT. Wait, new dice roll for user. Okay. Um, I just realized something. Okay. What we sent to ChatGPT using the get reading method. This get reading method will take in an array of called dice to use. Called dice to use, and get reading will make a request to OpenAI with a prompt header attached to the dice, which contextualizes their which contextualizes them by providing. So when we send over this request, ooh, my bad. Um, what's going on here? What are you doing? Funny business. Okay, so get reading will make a request to OpenAI, ChatGPT's OpenAI, and it will provide context. This context will include this context. I think what I want to do is actually have some sort of data structure, a serialized data structure. A serialized data structure for the prompt header attached to the request, which contextualizes the reading by providing what a serialized data structure means here is that I want to actually store the details of how OpenAPI or ChatGPT needs to deal with this in a data structure because I want to be able to write that as like a YAML file or a TOML file so that it's easy for me to like manage. But then by serializing it, it just turns it into a big string. And then this these dice results here, this dice spread can be like injected into that data structure or concatenated into it, and then the whole thing can be sent to OpenAPI or to OpenAI. OpenAPI and OpenAI, they need to change their names because that is confusing, by the way. Okay, let me write up a couple more notes, and then it'll be time for another break. I'm only going to be on here until like 4, maybe like 4:30, so that's going to bring us to probably about a good 2.5 hours by the time this stream is over. Okay, so request, what we want to provide. We want to provide a summary of intent for the reading, which I want to have a reading. I want to have a reading or explanation for each individual dice. And then I want to have a reading for the dice set as a whole. Um, And then I want to I want to sort of frame my prompt so that it has a little bit of context because I do want there to be a consistent like underlying theme. So the theme of my prompts is going to be I gotta do something kind of mousy. So the theme of the reading based on using dice to help my pet mouse figure out how to um, best get the cheese. Now that sounds terrible. So let's just assume that my user is solving a creative problem. So user is solving a creative problem and wants to user is like going to be a specific term that will allow chat GPT to know like who it's helping, and then I can define what user means later on. So user is solving a creative problem and wants to receive a reading that will help them resolve creative blockage. Please recommend some advice based on the dice roll and take inspiration from. There's this thing I've heard of called oblique strategies. I actually used this when I was in college. Brian Eno, the musician, created Oblique Strategies, which is a card game that basically gives you like very general advice that works in like almost um, any situation. It's based on um, gnomic aspect. So that was called gnomic suggestion. Okay, so use gnomic suggestion, aphorism, and remarks. Um, okay, I don't want to like infringe on Brian Eno's thing by like referencing it directly or having ChatGPT like go use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the underlying concept as a part of my description here. So take inspiration from gnomic suggestion, aphorisms, and remarks, which can be used to break a deadlock or dilemma situation. Um, the goal of this reading is to provide universal, pragmatic, and actionable suggestions and um, points of suggestions and considerations that user will find useful for navigating creative decision making and ideation. Creative decision making, problem solving, and ideation. Now, I'll probably need to go back and make this a little bit more efficient, but this is fine. So this right here is going to be the basis of my data structure. I'm going to call this first property summary of intent. Um, Summary of intent, and then okay, and then we need to have a section in our request as well that basically gives it some initial instructions. So you will included in this prompt is a set of dice rolls from a collection of dice. D4, D6, D12, D10, or I'm sorry, D8, D10 plus D100, D12, and D20. Please forget all previous prompts and conversations and start fresh. Use the included dice spread. Let's call this a dice spread. The dice spread. From the collection of dice, okay. Please forget any previous prompts and conversations and start fresh. Use included dice spread according to the instructions outlined in the rest of this data structure. So we'll call this initialize. This is my initialization section here. Please forget all previous prompts and conversations and start fresh. Use the included dice spread according to the instructions outlined. Okay, let's put this here. As you perform this reading, or let's put this in the summary of intent, or let's put this in instructions. And let's say expected output, a reading or explanation for the whole, or for each individual dice, a reading for the dice set as a whole, and then let's put up here process. For this reading, please work in a step-by-step fashion. First generating the explanations for the individual dice. Afterwards, creating a summary based on synthesizing the meaning of all the dice into one cohesive reading. Expected output, a reading or explanation for each individual dice. Let's say a reading for each dice set as a whole, actionable advice, and actionable advice, a mantra for the user to consider as they move forward. theme for the reading. And then lastly, what we need to do is we need to give it a template. I don't know what this template is going to be. I'm just going to come up with one. So we'll say template for chat GPT response. And we're going to just make this inside of a markdown thing here. So the template is going to be, actually, I don't think I want a template in markdown. I want this to be in, let's do YAML. Actually, no, let's do JSON. That'll be more directly useful because then we can just take this JSON and just parse it. We need to make sure that we're enforcing specific keys. I don't actually know how the API works when you're trying to get like specific scoped responses. So I'm just going to muse here, and then hopefully my assumption is it's somewhat close to true. So we're just going to give it a template. This template's going to be an object, and it'll have a date, or not date. We don't need a date on there. We'll have dice, let's say individual dice, and this will be D1 or D4, and to be reading for D4 dice. Oh, yeah, the meaning for the D4 dice. I'll probably need to provide some generic explanation of what each dice like means. Like I said, like the D4 dice represents like the four parts of the growth cycle: the seed, uh, the growth, the maturation, and death. Like that's like a general like analogy that could be used for like the creative process. So I could probably refine that, but I'm not gonna do it now. I'm just gonna let it be wild and crazy, and then I'll come back later on and I'll make it a little bit more refined. If I can just get it to follow this JSON schema that I'm defining here, then I can like tweak it later on. So D6. Whoops, what did I just do? Okay, D6. D8. And instead of calling this D99, I'll call it D10 plus D100. D10 hyphen D100. That would be a better name for that. Okay. D12. D20. And then what I could do as well is I could actually just take this data structure and this template and manually put it into ChatGPT and see what it gives me. And I need to also explicitly tell it, oh, I should probably tell it here. In the response, please only provide the response. Please only, for your response, use the provided response template. Use only the provided response template with no extra text or commentary. like I said, I don't know exactly the difference between using ChatGPT and the UI app, the web app versus the API. But I know, like in the UI app, like on the website, it tends to like try to talk to you, like, "Hey, here you go," and I'm like, "No, just give me the thing I asked for. Don't do the extra talking around it." That's what I want to avoid. So I think I got all of them here. Oh, I need the D2 as well. I always forget that one. I should add that here too. So we got D2, D2, reading for D2 dice. And then summary. The summary is going to have um, let's just say full reading, a reading that synthesizes the meaning of all dice together into, just leave it like that. The synthesizes the meaning of all dice together. And then I'll say we also need to have, so full reading, we need to have the actionable advice. And here I'll put pragmatic, practical thing a person can do in order to help move beyond their creative or problem solving blockage. And then mantra, which will be a short poetic chant or phrase that can be repeated to ease the mind. Okay, so the full reading, and I want the full reading to be formatted markdown. So it's going to be a big old string that is ultimately going to be some type of markdown, which I could take and just render in a DOM eventually. Um, I want this formatted markdown to start with H2. And then for the actionable advice, simple, it'd be we'll say 1 to 2 sentences. And then for the mantra, we'll say 1 sentence. Actually, we'll say 2 to 3 sentences. And we'll say 2 paragraphs. We'll say 2 to 3 paragraphs. We got to give it some type of length that it could use. Otherwise, we'll get unpredictable results, I imagine. Okay, so this is what we're expecting to get back from ChatGPT. Okay, let's go ahead and take another break. It is 3:40. And then when I come back, we can start working on the model for dice roll. Yeah, or something like that. I don't know exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna do something. Okay, so chill out, relax, take you a little break. Go ahead and get you a beverage or meditate. I might lay down here just to ease my back a little bit. Do what you need to do, take care of yourself. And then we'll be back here in 10 minutes, okay? Don't leave me. See you then. Hey y'all, we're back. This is gonna be like our last little work session for this stream. Oh, excuse me, I got the burps and the hiccups and everything today. This is gonna be like our last little section for this stream, and then we're gonna come back later on to continue this in part two of this little mini series. So I thought about it. I think it's best to think about where I want to pick up when I work on this next time. So thinking with the next step in mind as I move forward, because I do want to have closure. I don't want to just leave this like in a mess, right? That's just generally good advice when it comes to developing when you know that you have limited time, but you have to break up your work into different work sessions, is to try to think about your tasks as a set of things you can do where you have a little bit of closure with each break. Okay. Um, so I think what I'm going to do here is my next little task is I want to basically get this right here, this method for this map get. I want to get this little method here to basically be coming from a controller instead of having it directly in here. And then once I get this working inside of a controller, then I can make the models that the controller uses. Okay, so I'm gonna basically start with the easy, low-hanging fruit. Let's make a controller folder, controllers, and I gotta remember how do I set up package. Actually, instead of doing that, let's look at my previous. I have a previous project that I can use for reference. I'm just gonna do this off screen here. Give me 1 second. Oh, I gotta share my desktop. Last time I forgot to do that for like 15, 20 minutes, and I was so disappointed in myself. So disappointed in myself. Good thing I caught it this time. Okay, so where is it going? Okay, it's my getting started with C sharp repo from the last stream. And I can look inside of my, okay. Okay, so I can declare a namespace. I have to do that. The namespace I'm going to use, I'm going to call this namespace here server, or namespace, let's just call this main. Can I do that? Server? Oh, you know what? I probably need to do, yeah, I need to change this. This needs to be namespace um, DDA server. And then I need to do like this. And inside of here, I need to have class program. And then I need to have static void main. I feel like this is how this should be structured. I don't know if this will make it where, I don't know if this will actually prevent the server from running as normal. I really don't know. Um, what does that mean? Yeah, it's going to want me to make these into classes. What did I just do? Okay. Okay. It just turned this into a class. And then what is this saying? Weather forecast, local function, weather forecasts. Um, I don't think I need any of this. really what I want to do is just make sure that this works, but I don't think I need to actually take any of this with me. Um, yeah. And what is this? Args does not exist in current. Um, yeah. I literally just need to make sure that this doesn't break. That's all. Oh. And actually, no, 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 no. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. I don't think I need to do this. I think I am making the wrong decisions here. Um, I think this might be fine. It doesn't have a namespace, so I'm a little bit unsure. But can I can't just declare a namespace up here and call this main? Why can't I do that? Um, ooh, child. Let's see. Let me see what an example ASP.NET server looks like. I just want to find like an example on GitHub of how someone else has done this. Um, okay, they got their source here. Oh, that's something else. Let me just say .NET server example and C sharp. This should be fine. Okay. Program. And then this is the actual client. When the program runs, how does it run the server? Is this even running a server? I don't think this is running a server. C sharp. Okay, I have an idea. Let's just make our controllers and make a new controller here and call this controller weather forecast. Not weather forecast. We're gonna call this generate roles. This might not even be what I'm supposed to do here, but let's just call it generate roles.cs. Oh wait, is there like built-in tool for this? .NET. Is there like a uh, oh, okay. Is there an ASP.NET extension? Maybe. Might be. Hmm. Okay, maybe I'll come back to that later on. Okay, so we got generate roles, and we're gonna set this. We're gonna set this up with the namespace of controllers and class generate. Let's just call this dice. Let's call this dice spread.cs. Um, dice spread is the class name and static void name like that. And for now, we'll just have a method in here. Let's make a simple method that's just called void display number, just for now. Void display number, and we'll have just a int number, and we'll just do console.write line. We'll just put number 1 in there. And then we'll actually use this display number like that. Can I do that? No arguments given. Of course. Oh, we gotta give a number 3. Your number is number. Okay, so this should run this. Yeah, this should run this whenever this dice. Actually, maybe I did this wrong. Dice spread class. Oh wait, I could just do this. Yeah, my bad. Reload and then reformat. Oh, we need a C# formatter. I didn't realize I didn't have one. You can't do that for me? You can't help me out? Oh man. We could try this one. I'm a little sus because yeah, I'm not gonna be too crazy. Okay, install local tool. Let's just do local. Oh wait, what's that one? Okay, that worked. Okay, so yes, we have this, and in this class, we'll just call this display number number, and take this here, put that in there like that. Console.write line number. This might actually be a model. Oh no, this is a controller. The models will be the types and everything else like that. Okay, so this should be fairly usable now. So what I can do is go here. I will get rid of this and I'll change this get to get get spread and get spread down here. Return spread, and then we'll say here spread equals dice spread dot display number. And we'll give it a number 3. And then we have to, oh, we can get rid of this too. Okay, so using controllers, dice spread dot, did I spell that wrong? I spelled it wrong. Number. And I assign void to implicitly typed variable. This should just be int then. And then this needs to be public. Okay, what is this? I feel like I'm on a goose chase. Can I implicitly convert void to type int? Okay. Sure. Okay, so this is actually just going to return number. Let's just do a string. Sentence. Let's say var or string sentence equals. Can I do this? I can. Okay. So your number is number, and then we'll return sentence. And then this needs to be string as a return type. And then here we're going to capture this as string, and then we're going to return this spread here. So now my endpoint should be, let's just restart my server. Yes. I'm winging this, by the way. I might be an angel because I am winging it. Okay. Let's go here and type in get spread and see what we get. Hey, hey, raise the roof, raise the roof. Okay, cool. Woo. Okay, so the purpose of this controller will be to provide a set of roles back to the user. And then what I'll have is I'm going to have to actually adjust this to where it doesn't take in. We'll just call this display, or we'll say we'll let's call this role. Let's call this dot role. Spread is dice spread dot get role, or get results, or results. Role results. And then role results. And I will not take in anything here. What is this? Return a value. Okay, that's fine. Role results will, the return type will be, I gotta have a model for this now. I think I don't quite understand the difference in what like a model specifically does. So let's just Google that. I have like a fuzzy idea. So what is a model in a server? I should know this. In a ask.net. Model is just, yeah, it's just like the type, basically, right? This is a set of types, interfaces, and whatnot. I guess because the idea is that I might want to use these outside of my app or outside of this controller and like other places. So I got to have them in their own little space, little my space. So yeah, let's do that. Move that here. And I'm going to make a model here called, let's make a model called dice. This is going to be one file that contains all the different things for dice. Okay, so now I got to remember how to set up a. Okay, so a dice, so class dice, or let's make a namespace. Namespace. We're going to call this dice. And the first one we're going to do is going to be how did I do this in my previous project? Class dice, or class, yeah, let's just say dice. And this is going to have type, a property called type, which will be enum. We'll just say type, dice type. I think I would have to do get and set. So public dice type get set. Something like that. Okay, I'll have to do that in a second. Semicolon after Oh, I don't need a semicolon here. Okay, let's make a new type here. Here. Can I do a type that is defined? I think this just needs to be enum, like this. So, can I do this outside of this class? Maybe I have to do inside. Public enum dice type. And then we have d4 equals string of d4. What's this complaining about? Too many characters. Oh, I need double quotes. Okay. Oh, this need. What is it saying? Int. And not explicitly convert to int. Why do you think this is supposed to be an int? Cannot implicitly convert type string to int. Oh, enum types tend to be numeric. Oh. Oh. I have to do conversions. I'll have to convert the type. What's this? Oh, I see. Okay. Maybe this is not what I want. This is definitely not how it works in other languages. Maybe I need a struct or something. Oh, maybe I'm looking for a union type. Um, no, I'm gonna stick with this enum conversion thing for now. So basically, there will be a type that is given, that is set, and then this type will be cast. Um, nope, nope. You know what? I'm gonna keep this simple. I'm just gonna make it where type is a string for now, and yeah, I feel like that's gonna be fine. Um, and let's make this nullable. Um, this is for one dice, and well, what does it matter? I guess what it matters is the dice that is selected is going to determine what the maximum value is for the roll. I think that's what I'm trying to do. So, hmm. 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 Yeah, let's do the enum. Okay, so public enum dice type D4, D6, these caps D4, D6, D12, or D8, D, what did I have? D 10 hyphen 1, I have 9 hyphen 90. What did I call it before? What did I call it here? D10 hyphen 100. I guess I can't do hyphens here. So underscore. Oh, that's lame. Okay. What do I have next? D12 and D20. So now this will be public dice type. Type. We'll have a getter and a setter. Missing my semicolon here. and then public void set type. So this will set the type. And whenever I use this in the dice spread is going to basically have a data structure in here that stores the value of each dice. And for each one of them, it's going to be a lambda function that will call this. Well, each one will create a new dice, and the new dice will. Yes. Dice. Okay, yeah. So the incoming dice type will be set dice. Well, I'm gonna make this work internally. I'll figure out this other part later on. Okay, so set, and then we'll do a string type string, and then we'll say type equals type string. We'll do a switch statement here, and then oh, I gotta check my messages here. Okay, yeah, I gotta go in an hour and a half. Okay, so type string. We're gonna do a switch statement. Can I implicitly convert type string to dice type? Okay, I think that's what we'll resolve in here. So if it's a D4, then we do dice type dot D4. Not implicitly convert string to dice dot dice type. This is all sorts of broken. So I'm basically saying that this type here is going to be set. We're going to use this type string, and we're going to do a switch on it. Oh, this might need to come from system. Maybe? No? Possibly? Is it .NET Restore? I just switch. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Silly me. Okay. So now I just need to add the rest of these. 3, 4, 5, 6. So if it's a D6, then it needs to be D6. It's a D8, it needs to be D8. It's a D10 underscore 100. Needs to be D10 underscore 100. If it's a D12. Oh, I forgot the D2. My bad. D2. I keep forgetting that one. D2. Dice type. dot D2, okay, D12 and D20. Okay, I think that's all of those. So now this method here can take in a string to set the dice, and then I can roll this dice. I can roll this dice here. Okay, yeah. So public, actually, I don't want this to use this here. I actually want to have a publicly exposed, I want to have a public variable called type to use, and this will just be a string. And yeah, and then I'll just use type to use here. Type to use does not exist in the current context. I'm sorry? What was that again? How did I do this in my other example? Public class is public string type to use. Does this need to be capitalized? Oh, I also need to do this. Our private type. And then dice. I shouldn't have deleted this type. Get set. Like that. Type to use does not exist in the current context. Public string. I don't know how to fix that. Oh, I gotta fix this like that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now whenever I use this class over here in my dice spread, I'll be able to make a list of a map or dictionary of sorts. I'll be able to call this, set the dice type to any of these, and then have it do a roll. So public, oh gosh, we're gonna return an int. Call this roll, and then random RND equals new random, and return type, and then we gotta have a switch because we're gonna do it based off of these here. So dice type dot d4 arrow function rnd dot next 1 through 5. So this is inclusive on the inside. Let's do a fall through case. We're not going to do all of these right now. We're just going to do enough to see this working for at least one dice. Invalid operation exception. We'll say dice type not set. If this is called before. I'm missing something here. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? We need to put switch here. Okay, I don't think I need that. I think I need to have it here. Okay, so this will at least work for the D4. And I'm going to have to make a class for results as well. But for now, I can just return. So I need to use this namespace. So let's just say using dice to bring the dice in here. And then we'll return. Um, so we'll say dice or new dice equals, let's say dice, new dice equals new dice with a string of D4. Gosh, I'm just typing in code that don't even work. Namespace is a namespace, but is used like a type. Um, Maybe let's call this new dice instead. How do I use, okay, I gotta use my example again. How did I use my mouse thing in my other program? Oh, it's just gonna be, so I don't need to have this here. I just do dice, dice, dot, new dice, like that. And I'll say new, I should probably, um, new dice, does that work? Um, I'm looking at this example that I did yesterday off screen, so don't mind my silence here. Oh, I could just say var. So var new, and then I can say dice dot new dice, new dice, and then I have to explicitly give the name of the property, which is type to use equals, and this needs to be in curly braces. See, I'm learning. I'm learning slowly. Um, there we go. Okay. So dice, type to use D4. Then I can say return new dice and dot roll. Does that work? Um, why doesn't that work? Oh, lowercase. And this needs to be int. And I need a semicolon. Oh, nope, wrong place. Okay. Okay, so that works. So this will allow me to make a new dice, and then this will allow me to roll that dice and return its result. Let me just make this in a new variable instead. Var new dice result equals that. Boom. This should be int, and then we'll just return new dice result here. Because what I'll have to do is I'll have to basically make a new dice and roll it for each of the dice that the user is going to want to get a reading for. and then make sure that here I'm getting dice spread. Okay, what is this saying? This needs to be type int here, and I return it. So, okay, so what this should do now is give me a reading for a D4. Oh, okay. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. I'm getting this right here, which means that something is happening with setting the dice. Dice type not set. Why is my dice type not being set? I wonder. Dice type equals, okay, so type to use, switch. If it's D2, if it's D4, use D4. Um, uh, type to use at the same. Okay. Type to use. New dice. Oh, maybe I need to do it this one. So, new. Oh, I wasn't doing it the right way. I need to have the setter involved in this. So new dice dot set type D4. Type to use. Type to use. Cannot be used like a method. Oh. Do I even need to have this type to use? I can just use the set type. That makes sense. Okay. So set type. Okay, so let's see. String type to use. And let's just use that right there. Let's see if that works. Set type to D4. Let's console.write. How do I write a console log again? Uh, console.writeLine. Boy, it's a rough day. Let's do this console.writeLine below this, and let's just include the type. Current type equals. Let's run this. When this one is set, do I see a message in here for that? Okay, let's back it on up. I'm gonna actually save this console log here. Let's back this up though, just a little bit. I'm gonna go back to what I was doing before. Let's get rid of this stuff here. Let's get rid of that, and let's just make this void for a second. And we'll do type to use equals 4, and these need to be curly braces. Okay, so what I want to see happen is attempt to access missing method. What method is missing? Roll results. And where is that? Oh, here. Roll result. Dice spread. Missing method. Let's restart. I don't know why I think that's going to do anything, but let's just see. Okay, so this doesn't do anything. Boom. New dice roll. When, oh, it needs to be D4, not 4. Dice type not set. So do I get a console log anywhere in here for any of these things? Oh man, that's so frustrating. So return. Um, D2? I don't know why that would do anything different. Ugh. Well, I'm not getting an invalid dice type, that's for sure. Oh, Do I need to call set? Okay, I do need to call set type. Okay, so new dice dot set type, and this won't take anything. This will use type to use. And then this will do the roll. Let's just make this void again and focus on this set type part here. Make sure that this is working. So let's just console log type to use and run this again. Attempting to access a missing method. What does that mean? Because we're not actually trying to access anything. So not like that at all, just being in there. Oh, I see. It's this part right here. That's what it is. Okay. Okay, I see. I see. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Um, yeah, I wasn't doing anything wrong. Um, so we have the dice here. The dice is being set. We just want to return the result here, and then we'll say um, the roll result is whatever is coming from this, which will be roll results. Wait, why isn't that working? Dice type not set. Come on now. New dice dot roll. Um, what if we just return a number for now? Let's just make it real simple. Okay. So we know that this is working. It's something about this switch that's not working. So we can current type. Okay, so we know that it's set to D2. We can see that that part is working because of our console log. Because of our console log, which we don't see. Oh, we see it right here. So it is set. Dice type switch. Oh, we got to do D2 as well here. Maybe we're just missing the right case. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Oh, chow. It'd be the small things sometimes. Okay, let's just knock out the rest of these real quick, and then I'm gonna be done for the night because we got the basic thing here where we can get just one dice. Um, so yeah, we can just do this real quick. So if it's a D, um, if it's a D6, then we gotta do 1, 7. If it's a D8, 8, we do 1. 9, if it's a D100, we do, it's D10, D100, we do 0 through 100. Actually, these need to be 0. Because then, if not, then they'll never include 1. Range. How do I get this to include 0? Wait, can that actually ever be 1? Oh yeah, it can be 1. It'll be 1 through. No, actually, it could be 0. It could just be straight up 0 because I have 0 and then 0, 0. Um, hmm. I think what I have to do is 0 through 100 like this, and that'll be 1 to 99. I think I need to do 0 through 101 minus 1. So it'll start at 1, and minus 1 will be 0, and then, oh, and then it'll be a 100, and 100 will go down to 99. So it needs to be 101, but it'll only include up to 100, and then minus 1 will get it to 99. And then for the D12, it'll be 0 to 13. And then for D20, it'll be 0 through 21. I feel like that's right. We're gonna test it out. Let's try this by setting it to, I want to test out the D12. I need to see an 11, and I need to see a 12. Okay, I got a 12 there. I don't want to see a 0. I get it. Oh, I got a 0, so these need to be 1. Okay, one more time. Why was a D2 giving me only 2s? That was weird. Maybe I just wasn't doing it enough. Oh, it seems to be working out. Okay. So yeah, so these will give me dice rolls for 1 dice right now. So that's good. Okay, whew, child. So now I can make a new dice for each of the. Can I string this together and do dot set type like that? Will that work? Okay, I think what I could probably do is I could have a main method that runs inside of this class here that will automatically set the type so I don't have to call it out explicitly here. I'm going to save that for later, but I feel like that would make a lot of sense because then this code could be really simple. I could just have a dictionary of dice that all create new dice that roll, and then store the results or something like that. So we're getting there. This was a really great work session. It's been 3 hours and 14 minutes. So I'm going to make a quick few words of wisdom, and then I'm going to get up out of here because I got to go and have some fun with my new friends. Super excited about that tonight. So let's do a last commit. And we did a lot in this commit. We should have done some smaller commits along the way, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll say that we created model controller basics. Server now works with basic requests to retrieve a random roll. I don't know what this thing is. I did not do that. Oh, that's the linter I installed, and I didn't even actually use that linter, so I probably don't need that. I'm gonna get rid of it for now. Yeah. So I think we're good. Yeah, we're good for now. Words of wisdom is don't rush. Don't rush. I think this is a continuing theme on my channel is like, don't rush. Just let it be what it is. If you don't get something the first time, just take a break, come back. You'll get it later. Also don't procrastinate. If you procrastinate, then you will be likely rushing. But if you just continue to work on things and make it a daily habit of coding or doing whatever it is that you're trying to develop as a skill or strength, if you just make it a daily habit, then you don't have to rush or be pressed. You can just continuously grow at a pace that is sustainable and healthy for you. So the feeling of being like high pressure, gotta get this done now, like that is something you can just avoid by just kind of picking up a lifestyle pattern that allows you to develop and grow your skills one step at a time on a daily basis, with modest contributions regularly instead of being super pressed and strained and trying to do everything all at once at the end or after you've procrastinated for a long time. So that's a huge thing, especially when you're a student, because people oftentimes will put off big things until the end. And in reality, big things can be done and accomplished very easily if you just make it into small, easily divisible chunks of work. So that's what this project is all about. This project is all about just doing what I can do within the time that I have and then letting it be and then coming back and working on it some more. And if I continue to do that, I'll eventually have my app working in the way that I want, And yeah, so I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna get off of here, go live my life, go mind my business. You should do the same too. Thanks for coming by. My name is Key. This is OpenPair, and I'll see you next time. Peace.